Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching Business Morning on Channels Television, and we're looking at the slide in oil prices and the federal government's austerity measures as a response to this slide in oil prices and, of course, its implications for businesses. And I still have here the Director General, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Muda Yusuf. Thank you very much for sticking on, Mr. Yusuf.
Thank you.
Right. We've just looked at the fiscal side. Some of the measures they have tried to come up, and you also have your own, perhaps your own recommendations where you think they can actually shore up not just what they have reeled out. Now, from the monetary side of it, the CBN has actually, as part of also monetary response to what is happening, the CBN has actually excluded some items from official foreign exchange markets. We have items like electronics, generators, ICT, telecom equipment, and so on. What are the likely implications of these measures on businesses?
Well, the major impacts will be on the side of cost. It will affect the cost parameters of many businesses. And that will also affect...
Particularly those businesses in those sectors?
Yes, those businesses in those sectors. It could also affect even their profitability. Because in business, it is not in all situations that you can pass on the additional costs to your customers. It could also have some inflationary implications. Because if you look at the difference between the exchange rates in the official market and the exchange rates in the interbank or parallel markets, I mean, you are looking at a difference sometimes as high as even 15%. And that is significant. And so for all products that are being imported, that are on that list, and in any case, the list looks also very general. We still expect a more comprehensive elaboration of what exactly do you classify as finished goods, as IT equipment, as telecom, these things need to be properly elaborated to avoid cases of arbitrary classification. But whatever the case, it is going to have a lot of impact in terms of costs, and it also have a lot of impact in terms of inflation. So it's going to have inflationary implication, and of course, it's going to push up costs across quite a lot of sectors.
Now, is there any implication for perhaps government patronage?
Well, the implication for government patronage is not so much as a result of this monetary policy measure. It will have to do more with the fact that the government at this time may not have as much money to spend as it used to. So businesses that are dependent on government patronage at this time may begin to experience some decline. Because we have a situation where recurrent spending, traditionally or historically, has been accounting for as high as 80% of government spending. That was in the best of times. Now there is a contraction in revenue. You will expect that the percentage of spending that we go to recurrent will go as high as 90 to even 90, if not 100%. Because as we speak, some states have not paid September salaries. Some have not paid October salaries. That shows the kind of effect this kind of things will have. And you have a situation where even salaries have not been paid, then how much money will be available to award contracts? So businesses that are driven by government patronage, I think will suffer some slight setback at this time. And even what I will call the enterprise of politics. Politics is also an enterprise in a way. It has become also a form of business. We have a lot of parasites and things, people who hang around the political office holders, around all these patronage that come from all these systems is also likely to reduce, because it's no longer going to be business as usual, because the resources are not there to be spent anyhow. And this will happen at all levels of government, at the federal level, at the state level, and at the local government level, and even contractors, because there are issues now about whether you do a contract for government, how fast will you get paid? Because even at the best of times, getting paid on government jobs is always an issue. So that situation is likely to worsen. So there's a great risk at this time for anybody to jump into taking government contracts, particularly contracts that you're going to execute with borrowed funds. These are cautions that I think businesses need to take at this time.
What about on tourism?
Well, tourism, because of, depending on the nature of the tourism, you have outward or outbound tourism, you have inward tourism. For tourism that has to do with, education tourism, that is, sending children abroad for schooling, going on medical tourism, that's going to hospitals abroad, going on vacation and all of those things. The cost of those things will be higher at this time. So the capacity to fund those things will also be reduced, and that may affect businesses that are concentrated on that. But we also expect that for inward tourism, for every unit of dollar you hold, you are likely to get more naira here. So it is probably there's an incentive for more of such tourists or something to come into the country. There's also even likely possibility that even the diaspora funds, more of it will begin to come in, because the naira value we get for every dollar we bring in now is much higher. So these are some of the things. And of course, even for non-oil exports. Okay. There's a bit of incentive now for those who are in the business of non-oil exports, because the value of export profits in naira is now much higher.
Perhaps that's one of the positive sides of
these are some of the positive
the opportunities that businesses really need to
exactly look at. I mean, for non-oil exports, I think it's a good opportunity. And I must also say that another sector that will also benefit from this are industries that are resource-based, industries that operate with high local content, local input. They are, at this time, they'll be more competitive than industries that are dependent heavily on imported inputs.
All right. Now, in all of this, as an organized private sector, what's your advice for the government? What do you think should be the way forward?
Well, the advice for government and even for the private sector is for us to, first, we should not panic in a situation like this. That is why we are entrepreneurs. We should take the challenges and see how we navigate through them, identifying the risk and understanding the risks that this current development presents, and manage the risk properly. And for government, we should look at ways to cut costs and ways to improve revenue. For instance, there have been reports of many parastatals or enterprises that are not remitting what they are supposed to remit to government. There was even a report of the National Assembly that estimates such funds as close to 1 trillion naira. So we should be looking at all these areas, cutting costs, and also beefing up the revenue, looking at the tax system, and ensuring that we tackle the issue of corruption. Well, that's another very big window for leakages. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Muda. It's nice having you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Right. I've been speaking with Mr. Muda Yusuf. He is the Director General, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and we've been looking at the austerity measures by the federal government as a response to the sliding oil price and the possible implications that could have on businesses. Well, it's on that note that we draw the curtain on today's edition of the program. Thank you very much for being part of it. Do remember to join us again, same time tomorrow. I'm Chimezi Obi Iwago. Have a good day.